Good afternoon, Denver, Colorado. This is Alisha B. We are here on Metro. In studio today, I have a good friend of mine, a marijuana activist, a gentleman, a scholar, the man who plans and does everything for the 420 celebration in Civic Center, right?
Rally. It's a rally.
It's a rally.
The word means of people coming together. So
I call it a party.
If it's a party, then that means we're happy the way things are. And let me tell you, I am not happy, but I'm sure stoned enough to, adapt to some of these things so I can continue on with the struggle, as we all do with our day-to-day lives. And I try to teach people a little bit and learn from them as well, and develop people's motivation and confidence in themselves.
Well, Denver metro area, say hello to Miguel Lopez. How are you, my friend?
Thank you, Alisha and Univision.
As it happens, bienvenidos Univision. How do you do? To the world, all the Latin peoples.
Yeah.
All the Latin peoples. All right, let's start. Let's start
and don't forget, we have our black brothers and sisters in Latino and Central America. We're interrelated.
Look, I just assumed I represent both because I do.
Yeah, that's right.
So let's get into the thick of things, shall we? So as of January 1st, Colorado was the first place to have legal sale of recreational marijuana. It's us and Washington. Who are able to stand in line for hours and hours just for that sticky icky,
right.
Sweet Sheba. So so I have all kinds of different words for the sweet Sheba, the sticky icky, Mary Jane, because I value it so much. There's studies that say, that if you really value something, you have all sorts of words for it. However, there are some amongst us who don't like the word Mary Jane. Can you help me out with what we collectively should be calling it, and maybe tell us a little bit about the political weight of the word marijuana?
Sociologically speaking, I've seen a lot of my white friends and allies that have been very patronizing of, understanding that the word marijuana comes from the roots of racism, describing a pot-smoking Mexican. And so, as you do see with other communities where they take ownership of some of the words that they choose to use, I still choose to use the word marijuana because I am a pot-smoking Mexican, and I'm very proud. And so there's nothing to be ashamed about that and where I come from, and that's the purpose of the 420 rally. Just like Pride Fest, Cinco de Mayo, or Juneteenth, we're all proud to be who we are, and our brothers, sisters are who we are, and all of God's children.
Say it loud. I'm smoking, I'm proud.
Oh, man, the best.
So there's a lot of controversy and a lot of talk about what's okay and what's not okay to do here in Denver as far as marijuana is concerned, yeah?
Sure.
So I kind of condensed it. So what we can do, and I like to focus on the positive. So far, we can stand in line for hours sometimes
yes.
and get marijuana, right?
You can also grow your own. That's a lot more positive.
Oh, yes. I like growing, and that doesn't cost any money. Yes.
So it gives you a connection, just like when we teach our kids to grow our own vegetables. When we grow our own marijuana, we have a further connection to the ground and the earth and our own marijuana and where it comes from, and has a better respect for it.
Oh, very nice, very nice. So you can smoke pot on your porch?
Absolutely.
We can have up to an ounce
Absolutely.
on us at any given time?
Unless you have a medical marijuana card and you have, which they're actually, the state fees just dropped down from $35 to $15.
Holla.
And so, it's a lot more accessible, although the doctors are going to be looking for people who absolutely need it for medicine.
Right.
So by medical definition, most people do have pain, but they look for chronic pain. So I'd make sure you understand that information, clearly before you go in to, know what you're dealing with, so you don't have to waste your fees or money in that sort of manner.
Okay. And it is you cannot sell it. This is a not. I couldn't figure out a way to say.
You can sell it if you have a license to sell it, which versus a liquor store and versus a marijuana store, it's a lot more expensive. So you got to be pretty wealthy and elite. And of course, in America, it's predominantly white, but not to acknowledge, our poor white brothers and sisters who are struggling along, who can't even get to the top of the road because poverty, as we know, is a pathological disease, and poverty in America has been made simply by the rules and regulations that don't even allow poor people to even come up and out.
Oh.
I'm going to start off with a quote from Rodolfo Corque Gonzalez that would say in the Chicano movement that no one has the right to oppress anyone, and anyone who is oppressed has the right to a revolution. So in our communities, we're fighting to build an inclusive communities. The only time we're fighting is if you're talking about oppression, and that means inequalities. So we have the right to those revolutions and changes. And so, when we want to build these inclusive communities, well, we will have a discussion when it comes to equality and a level playing field for all. And definitely after hearing Martin Luther King's speech on April 4th, 1967, yesterday on Democracy Now!, people need reparation. And I'm going to continue those words of Martin Luther King and many other great words that we don't hear enough of this. There needs to be reparation for the classes and the people affected by the generations, and holding America true to its word of equality and payback. Everybody else wants theirs when they get something done wrong to them and they sue. Well, where's ours? We need to get ours back too.
Well said. Now, with all the stuff that I listed, did I miss any things that we can and can't do?
Well,
that
public consumption is a big issue with the bigot Charlie Brown from City Council. So, Charlie Brown, we have to tell people in Southeast Denver and Cherry Creek neighborhoods, call your city councilman Charlie Brown. Tell him to stop being an extremist in his political views and going after people and lying that people want to legalize meth.
Yeah, because it's not really a medicine.
That's what he was telling reporters and stuff about me off the record. And, they tell me these things. But, from the perspective of the war on drugs, we don't want to criminalize anybody for drugs. And if they have an addiction issue, we want to treat it. That's where we want to deal with these issues.
That's fantastic.
So don't get it twisted, Charlie Brown.
Wow, I have somebody on the line. Julian from Lafayette. Are you there, Julian?
Yes, I'm here.
It says that you have a comment. Tell me what's up. What's going on here on the Metro Show?
Oh, okay. I'm wanting to mention to people out there that our state was the first to make it illegal back in October of 1937. Within days of the marijuana law passing, a person by the name of Samuel Caldwell and another character named Moses Baca were the first people to be arrested here in Denver at the Lothrop Hotel in October of 1937, and within days of their trial, Harry Anslinger showed up just to be there to commemorate the arrest of the first people. So I think it's, in retrospect, that we're the first state in the nation to make it legal, since we were the first to make it illegal, and that's what I want to add. Thank you.
Good story.
Thank you so much,
for
Julian.
that.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Right.
That's good to acknowledge, and I've always acknowledged that Colorado, yes, it always has been a battleground for prohibition, for gay rights, for civil rights, for all kinds of different struggles. People always like to think that the civil rights movement was always in the South. It's all over.
It's all over. Wherever brown or black or anybody else exists, that's where it's at.
And not just in America.
It's
in every country.
Oh, no, it's a worldwide issue. There are people around the world who deserve rights. Clean water, fresh food, respect, love, all that. I mean, I know you can't really lobby for love, but I guess we could try, right?
Sure, you can. Love is always a good thing.
For sure. But I mean, it's a it's a worldwide epidemic. Let me ask you, because before we talked to Julian with that fantastic quote, thank you again, Julian. You had said that Charlie Brown's a bigot. Let me challenge that. What exactly do you mean by that? And if you could just briefly.
Well, the definition of a bigot is someone who's in extreme views and for political reasons or religious. And when you talk about extremism and we want to persecute Muslims and other people from around different parts of the world or even in our own backyard, he should take a look at himself a little bit more clearly and, quit trying to trash people and trying to play, bad politics. It's just not the way people really want to live their lives, and that's not, the way we treat our neighbors. These are things that, are whether you're Christian or you're in any belief or religious, that's just not the way we treat people, and we play politics with people's lives that affect them. And so, if this is the way he wants to make policy in people's lives, then he should really consider, what kind of legacy he's going to leave once he's actually in the grave.
All right. Let me switch and ask some other questions. I know that the taxes are obscenely high for recreational marijuana.
Oh, yeah, and if you're buying recreational marijuana and selling it to your friends or neighbors, you're actually paying
That's illegal, right?
It's illegal, and you're paying taxes to actually pay cops to bust you because you're trying to come up just like everybody else. But, while it's illegal to sell tobacco and a cigarette on a street corner, they're not really enforcing that much. So what's the biggest danger? Something that causes cancer and no one to prove it even by secondhand smoke, or worried about someone who's smoking marijuana in public that's consumed the same way, and people do not behave the same way. People that smoke marijuana their first time, yes, may get sick, but equally someone with tobacco that smoke could get nauseous and roll on the floor and turn all kinds of different colors. And
oh, no.
Alcohol. I've taken video on St. Patrick's Day of people, throwing up in the middle of Civic Center Park. So, and there wasn't
among other places,
and there wasn't even a festival going on there. So this was just people rolling out from out of the Lodo area and people trying to, like Charlie Brown once again saying that there's a problem with the 420 rally, and we are doing things, but he doesn't want to point out that Selena Harris, the cop that got shot in her face at the Jazz Park Festival a year prior to us, and so they're not coming down on them or the other stuff and events that happen at the Taste of Colorado and the stabbings and the fights at Cinco de Mayo. So they're just trying to point us out and separate us, that when anytime you see large events, whether it's marijuana or not, you're always going to see problems.
Ah, I see. So I know that some of that tax money is going into schools, right?
School structures. So that means
that means just building facilities,
right? And even though there's some that are already vacant in the mountains already, and
not just in the mountains, there are some vacant schools here.
In the inner cities that are the poor schools, we hope to see some of that money goes towards fixing them. Particularly, like an example I've heard of recently at Horseman School, where there's kids that are in elementary going to grades K through 9. I'm like, wow, how do you stick a big group of kids like that together, and how are they able to concentrate and focus when they're looking at their elders and their way they're dressing and the behaving and doing these other things when school is an environment where they should be focusing?
All right.
Something positive, basically.
Right. No, I see that. I feel like there's such a large revenue coming from marijuana as that it's taxed 25%?
Regular marijuana is taxed almost over 25%, where alcohol taxes about 2.5%. So it's overtaxed. And medical marijuana tax is about 2.5 itself, so it's almost equal to alcohol. There's enough revenue, but some of the people that Governor Hickenlooper has picked to his administration misspent the money on office supplies and equipment and new vehicles, and now they had to fire their staff that were supposed to go out and, oversight the regulations of the dispensaries. And he's not only done this once, he's done this twice.
Let's back up for a second before we get in. That sounds so hard hitting. But tell me, I'm confused about how the money breaks down and where is the money going. So, we have school structure, right? But does that mean that
some of the money goes to school structure and some of it goes to enforcement?
So, just the structure, because it seems like once you have a good structure, right?
More of the money goes towards enforcement than it does to the school structures.
Well, okay, I can kind of see that because, there's more people.
That's disingenuous to the voters. That was supposed to go mostly towards the schools, not to enforcement and putting black and brown people in the mass incarceration system that still exists.
Giving people what they want, but basically having them to do, what they're supposed to do. And if you don't do what you're supposed to do, Like, not like we're taking something from you, but it's like we all trying to win. So if you're not trying to win, then stay on.
But you know, when I envision helping schools, I envision giving the students better books and better pay for teachers.
Right. This is where I would.
So you know, when I didn't vote for 64, I'm not against marijuana, obviously, but I wanted to make sure that the classes affected by prohibition weren't left out, because you know, after the Civil War, were people truly free from slavery if they couldn't go to school, if they couldn't walk down the street, if they couldn't, you know, get housing? So are we truly free from, you know, the rules and the classes affected by prohibition if we can't even have a business, if we can't even get a job because we're convicted felons? So where do the rules play? Just because, you know, some people in certain classes can afford wealthy lawyers or have friends in the judicial system and say, you know, help my friend out, help my son out, and, you know, get him off on this, you know, make it a technicality.
Wow. Let's take a quick music break. I have some red meth.
Sure. He's coming back to Denver show.
They sure do. They sure do.
And they know about 420.
They
gave us some love.
Here on Metro Show, as it happens, my name's Alisha B. I'm here with Miguel Lopez. We'll be back right after this.
Yeah.
Yo, ladies and gentlemen. We got Tony Braxton up in the house. We live up in here, y'all. It's getting hot. Yeah. Let's get
Kick out and again, spit in the wind, loaded clip in the end, none sicker than him. Yes, indeed. I'm illers in the STDs or sex disease. These dirty rats want extra cheese on that piece of the pot. Now ask me how high, I tell you reach for the sky. Fling the crooked letter rock. That's my home. 23's wrapped in chrome. Not only snap on ya, but I'll snap them bones. Slap your dome, make you leave that crack alone. You got the key to the city, but the latch is on. I got it locked. Bringing the noise, bringing the funk, Dr. Spot. Bringing my boys, bringing you lumps. Pop the but only if you feel this. Jack the Ripper, don't make me have to kill this. Back to get ya, put it in check. That's the Mr. Mac with his foot on your neck. Shut your lips up.
Get high on your own supply. Plot. So high I can kiss the sky. Brick City to the crook and let it rock. Let's get. You can call on a man when the party is boring. I had these stripping till it's part of the morning. I love a fat chick with a body enormous. It ain't about the weight, yo, it's how they performance. My dash is 180, my half a pound. When it's smoke in the air, my nose like basset hounds. I don't stash the vibe. I'm not that ride with a trigger to get a supply. High, it's how I stay all the time. Close your door, shut all your blinds. If I'm hard to find, take 2 and pass. I stayed back, but my Benz moved up a class. It's Doc and Meth, the format is real sickening, contagious. We out for Mr. Big's women. You better shut your trap when my dog's around. We f***ing on fire hydrants, so walk around. Get high on your own supply. Plot. So high I can kiss the sky. Brick City to the crook and let it rock. Let's get.
Mr. Method Man, putting in work, foot in the dirt, like it's all good. Roll through your hood, pushing a hearse. I wish I would come around like Clint Eastwood, as if you're repping your hood in my neck of the woods. Speak for villains in the PJs. Grimy, I wear the same for 3 days. Find me limp, barks like Felipe. The he say, the she say, adjust the microphone. What's the cliche?
Call me the Bob Backlund. I break backs on people look like Tony Braxton. Can run with these bony masked men. I'm out the gutter. I'm out to send your baby mother out for rubbers. We tonight. Wanna crowd around how I'm cuffing the mic. I'm a gorilla. Leave a banana in your pipe. Cause I'm a real block winner. With Doc Inner. One of my is bigger than the Epcot Center. Get high on your own supply. Plot. So high I can kiss the sky. Brick City to the crook and let it rock. Let's get.
This is Alisha B on Metro Show As It Happens. We have Rich calling from Wyoming. We also have Miguel Lopez
and Dr. Kush, y'all, SOS.
in the building. Go ahead. Rich, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Oh, man, I feel overstimulated. There's so much going on here. Thanks for calling.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Well, I think we should be referred to as holy smoke.
Holy smokes, indeed.
Holy smoke. And so when you run out, you could say, holy smoke, I need some holy smoke.
Okay.
Holy smokes. We need holy smokes. It's a
How does that
stressful
sound?
situation. I like that. So, holy smokes.
Smoke and holy. We are living in biblical times in Denver because in Leviticus it says, we passed gay marriage and we have somewhat legalization of marijuana, even though it's overregulated. But in Leviticus it says, men who lay with men, let them get stoned.
Wow. You are chock full of fun things. You are chock full
Marijuana
of-
is crazy. This guy, marijuana, is very crazy. You see,
Can I say one more thing?
One more
I live
thing.
in Wyoming, unfortunately. Okay? So, we need to get something going on here as far as at least medical
I
goes.
think
All right.
Wyoming is about to have an initiative, although I don't know the language. But one of my friends, if you're on Facebook, look him up. His name's Charlie Lake. He has a thing called
Yeah.
Weed Wyoming.
Yeah, definitely organize, right? That's the way
Yep.
to make things happen.
We have to learn to organize. We don't always know how to organize. We always have to learn how to organize ourselves.
I get by with a little help from my friends. I
That's
also
right.
get high with a little help.
That's right. I know that song.
I grew up in the 60s, 70s, and I remember
Right
people
on.
went to prison for weed, and I grew
Yep.
up in Michigan and John Sinclair, and, all that. So, if you guys can help us out, you should help us out,
Weed Wyoming, we do. My name is Miguel Lopez. You can find me on Facebook. Try to learn how to organize and talk to your senators. It's not illegal to talk about it.
Oh, no. Thank you so much for calling Rich.
Dr. DB Kush, that you are an advocate for veterans and marijuana.
Yes, I am.
Tell about that.
Well, for one, me being a PTSD patient myself and knowing that the trauma that you go through and knowing that the type of pills that the VA administers right off the hand, like I could tell you my journey. My journey, as soon as I went in and they diagnosed me, the first thing wasn't, let's talk with them a little bit and get an idea and understanding.
Oh, no.
The
No,
first
no.
idea was hand me 3 pills of this, 2 pills of that. And these pills had me lethargic. I couldn't get off the couch. And I felt crazier than I probably felt before. So part of what I seen in my own journey, and then V Jams, one of our business partners, he's an amputee. He lost a leg in the military. So he only has one leg. So for us, the fight is for real to see that veterans come out of these war situations, because PTSD is real. And there's a lot of war veterans that's coming home from Iraq, from Afghanistan, and they're going to have options. But see, and that's why we're fighting, because medical marijuana and marijuana itself is an alternative to where they can still eat, where you can still function in society, and you don't have to walk around here even more on edge for what they're giving you. So, same as the NFL athlete. That athlete is just like that PTSD patient, because they're feeding him with multitudes of pills every time they get hurt. Demerol, Percocet, Vicodin. And then once they get hurt and they can't play anymore, they discard of them. Once they discard of them, these guys can't get the same amount of pills they was getting as an NFL player. Now they become junkies. How many NFL players have we seen go dead broke, and then next thing you know, they're in the penitentiary? That's a shame. That's a shame, and they need to recognize that giving these people this heroin and this
Because
morphine,
that's what it is. Let's not get it twisted.
that's all it is. And you're addicting them and standing in their face saying that this is your help.
Yeah.
No, you're hurting them.
All right.
Thank you.
So, introduce yourself one more time for me.
okay, so my name is Tay.
Tay, how you doing?
How you guys doing out there? How you doing?
Super great, super great.
Ah, man, we out here lifted and gifted.
Thank you for joining us. All right, so let me throw this guy at you. I was reading about trends of pot consumption, and they were talking about how pot and alcohol could be either, holy smokes, and and alcohol could either be complementary or competitive, meaning that when one buys one product, you think, oh, dang, I have all this pot, now I need alcohol. Or I'm going to go ahead and buy the pot because I don't need the alcohol, or vice versa.
I know a movement on Facebook of people quitting alcohol to just smoke weed.
That's fantastic. I like that. So I wanted to point out that we have gone from a president who was all, I didn't inhale, to this president who says something to the effect of,
It's safer than alcohol.
it's safer than alcohol.
The president, I have to say this because we actually organize the National Smoke Out at the White House every 4th of July as well. Come out to Washington, D.C. And, the president, if you're saying this, Obama, I love you and all, but keep going. And we need to say, pardon all the people. If you believe that marijuana is safer than alcohol, then pardon every brother and sister and everybody else.
who was on a marijuana charge, right?
Yeah.
All right.
And a lot of people beating him up today because they're saying, "Oh, he finally said it." Well, I'd like to let all those listeners know and all those people that hit the Facebooks and make their comments. I am an advocate of weed, but weed wasn't the first thing on America's agenda over 8 years that our president needed to deal with.
Indeed.
But I want to say that within this 8 years, he was bold enough to step out and say, it's not that bad. And no president has ever done that.
Don't forget the industries that lobbied to keep marijuana down in the first place, which was the alcohol industry. And from a Native perspective, a Native American perspective, we never buy alcohol. It's firewater, it's poison. And, these industries have made the rules and regulations, even for the alcohol industry, similar to marijuana, as they say, to regulate it like alcohol. Well, how many people do you know own part of Budweiser and are the owners of Coors? Not that many people. And so that's maybe in stock if they have that too. So, all these owner regulations keep people out and the people that were, originally affected by it. So, I don't even support alcohol. It's scientifically not even supposed to be safe to drinking because marijuana stops your nausea. So if you drink too much alcohol, you can actually you can stop yourself from vomiting from the nausea of the marijuana, and you can actually get alcohol poisoning.
So what do you suppose are the next steps besides the 420 rally and the Smoke Out Washington?
Well, the next step, the first step should always to be having face-to-face discussions with everybody to have respect and to make sure that we're talking about genuine equality and people are not trying to be minority against minority and having this competitive once again against each other. We should all be trying to work with each other.
Poor intentions, poor qualities. But it's like taught nowadays. Most people teach that to like the younger generation or to the people that they be around that look up to them. So most people don't know, and it's even some people that are even of age or older, they don't know what's going on. So it's like dummies teaching dummies, and then you like have people that's caught up in the middle that know what's going on, but it's not many. And with all the people that's in the middle with the nonsense, it separates us.
Dr. DB Kush, what do you feel like the next trends are in this whole
right now with the whole
scape?
Dabbing and wax,
dabs,
and the whole dabbing rigs and the glass extravaganza.
Oh, glass extravaganza!
I can tell you now that I believe someone's going to come up with probably one of the most purest forms of wax. And people get to 98, some 99, but somebody's going to start pushing out that 100% in the closed loop where it's not dangerous for people
like
anymore.
Like the Everclear of pot?
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
And they're gonna really figure out how to really solidify that CBD effect and that THC effect for the patients that really need it, and for people like me that like the CBD and to get high as hell.
Fantastic. Fantastic. We have 90 more seconds. Shout out where we can find you and more information about the 420 rally.
I'm always looking to build an inclusive community. You can find me on Facebook, Miguel Lopez. You'll see a nice profile picture with me and Paul Wall, and my cover picture holding up a bag of weed, showing it to a cop like, it'd be no big deal showing a cop, your bag of Budweiser beer. And so, I'm proud of it, and, it's a day of freedom where we don't have to sit in the back of the bus no more as second-class citizens, and we will not be treated as second-class citizens and be treated as beasts or such. And so the only smell that you sound at the 420 rally is the smell of freedom. You can check us out at 420rally.org with complete schedules. It'll be on a Sunday this year, reflecting the time of Passover. But check us out. If you find me on my Facebook page, it says where I work at, 420 Rally, Global Marijuana March,
the economy.
Annual Smokers. Find us and our
houses.
Fantastic. Dr. DB Kush, thank you so much. Long hair don't care. Give me some info where we can find you.
You can find me at oneblunt.radio.com.
Bang.
And for all my people know SOS Smoke One Son. And you can also find me at kushchronicles.com.
Kush Chronicles.
And smokingcolorado.info. Because I want to make sure all the tourists know where to smoke when they get to Colorado.
Thank you so much, fellas. Thank you so much. I want to shout out Deep Rock Dave, who is providing the beats.
Deep Rock Dave.
Providing the beats and support and producer stuff. You're the best. Thank you so much for tuning in to Metro Show. As it happens, I'm Alisha B, the femme fatale on the radio dial. Stay tuned.